All right, glad you're up. Hope you're dressed. Many critics have blamed President Trump's rhetoric for the rise of racial tensions in America, including Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz, for example.
Probably has given license to people to feel as if they can emulate and copy the kind of behavior and language that comes out of this administration.
Oh, how's that? That's a big jump. Do comments like these do anything to advance dialogue, or is it simply looking for a scapegoat? Here to discuss the philosophy of Starbucks, as well as the philosophy of Howard Schultz, is Kevin Jackson, CEO of Blacksphere and Fox News contributor, and Democratic strategist Howard Franklin. Howard, do you agree with Howard Schultz that the president's coursing, which some say is a coarse language, has led to incidents like what happened at that Starbucks in Philly?
I would absolutely agree. It's absolutely led to, or at least contributed to, the environment that we're operating in today. I mean, both as a candidate and as the president, the language that he's used has definitely given license to some of the more base elements of our society, both as candidates and individuals in the media.
Kevin, do you agree?
Howard Schultz needs to stick to selling coffee. This guy has stepped on more Guatemalans and Colombians than you can shake a stick at, and suddenly he wants to take up the cause of blacks in America. Howard Schultz hasn't gotten the memo that blacks do pretty well in America. And under President Trump, they're doing exceptional. Look at the gap between now unemployment between whites and blacks. He just appointed a black general to the Marine Corps. He freed 3 blacks, or a couple of black kids who had done some crimes in China. Blacks are the most employed than they've been in history. What more does Donald Trump need to do to demonstrate that he has nothing to do with this so-called racial rhetoric? What's funny, Brian, is that the left always talks about this unconscious racism. The biggest unconscious racism are the people like Howard Schultz, who are the biggest racists on the planet. Right. He wants America to believe that it takes him and a day of atonement for his company in order for blacks to be successful in this country, when all around Howard Schultz are nothing but successful blacks.
I don't think that, and I'm sure you don't mean that Howard Schultz are racist. You may say maybe some of his policies have boomeranged. I get that. Howard, let me ask you this. I talked to Senator Tim Scott about this, and Senator Tim Scott says the president's not a racist. Sometimes he could be racially insensitive. Do you buy that?
Well, I appreciate Senator Scott's remarks. I mean, obviously, he's gotten an opportunity to know the president and serve with him. But I do think if you look at the record that Donald Trump has offered us, both as a candidate and as the president, I mean, he's talked about basically every racial group, every religious group. I mean, he's been sexist, and every opportunity he's taken, every opportunity has been completely unprompted. So I do believe this president owns some responsibility for normalizing racism, even if he's not necessarily the originator.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
That's absolutely that's not the case. And Brian, you don't need to correct me. Yes, I do believe Howard Schultz is a racist in the sense that he believes that he is better than blacks in this country, and it's going to take somebody like him who's going to have to help us.
All right, hold it real quick. Here's Bill Clinton on why he thinks President Obama was treated so well by the media.
Well, they did treat him differently than other Democrats and Republicans because it was the political press. I don't know. They liked him, and they liked having the first African-American president.
So do you think the media gave him an easy pass, Kevin, because he was black?
Absolutely. It was an affirmative action media, just like Barack Obama's presidency was an affirmative action presidency. Look, the only way you could look at Barack Obama as a success is if you look at color and him being the first black president. He lost the Democrats over 1,000 seats during his presidency, 2 horrific midterms that led to the election of Donald Trump. What else could they possibly look at?
Kevin, I'll give you that, but he has great charisma. He's a great speaker, extremely motivational. His book was a bestseller before he won. But maybe his policies, Bill Clinton feels a little frustrated because maybe he had better results. What's your reaction, Howard?
I would absolutely point a little bit to the fact that former President Clinton is selling a book at present, and obviously has reason to generate some news media. But yeah, I think there's some hurt feelings about the 2008 primary election, and beyond his assessment. I mean, he also mentioned two other things that we ought to pay a little bit of attention to. One being that he was likable, and two being that he did a good job as president. You guys cut that part out of the segment. Two things we can't say about Donald Trump.
He didn't do a good job.
Yeah, it's Kevin
Really?
Jackson and Howard Franklin. You guys disagree on that. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate the debate. We need